Hello, everybody. It's so exciting to go ahead and welcome Carol LaBov to you, who is my guest for today on Envision Together, going to our next level of best. I can't wait to get all the insight and information she has about
Mhm.
helping young people in particular who have a speech impediment. And I know that she's written a book also
Mhm.
in tribute in a lot of ways to her grandson, I believe, and his journey along the way. So, with
Mhm.
that, I would like Carol to
Okay.
go ahead and introduce herself in her own way.
All right. Hello, I'm Carol LaBov, and rhymes with love, I always tell people.
Nice, nice.
And yeah, basically, we have one daughter and one son, and the daughter is the mother of the speech challenged individual. So his name is Cooper. My husband and I own a business, a marketing business.
Mhm.
And so we started our business way back in desperate times, way back in 1981. And for many, many years, we didn't have children. And so finally, when we had Laura, she was born on the 4th of July, which we
Mhm.
always said, yeah, that's the day we lost our independence.
Oh,
But that is when you own a business, you're always working, working.
now
But
you have a dependent.
yeah, that's right.
Okay.
But and she's a great mom. And so this Cooper, the speech challenged child, is her second son. And so her first son is Grayson. And he basically, you couldn't shut him up,
Mhm.
And so one of the things I approach in the book is like, well, maybe he's Cooper isn't talking because he's big brother is always talking.
Mhm.
But it soon became obvious that it was more than that. So he would like point to a juice box, and that's in the book, and which is, by the way, the Cave Boy Who Would Be President is the name of the book. I've got it. I don't know if you want to see the cover. Here we go. And so he was. We started noticing that he really wasn't saying things, like he would do a lot more pointing and grunting and and that's why my husband said he sounds like a little cave boy. And he's husband's very good with naming things. But so he we started trying to find out, well, what is this? And my daughter, she's such a wonderful mom. She began to investigate like local like schools, and how does she find out what to do? There's a in Indiana, that's where we're from. There's something called First Steps, and so she uh, contacted them, and so they would come, and you sign up for it, and it's paid for by the state, and it's paid for until you reach 3 years old. So then the ladies would come to the house, and usually it was a lady. I would come to the house and bring a big pile of toys, and then ask Cooper, say blue, or something, or can you say? There was always like, can you say? That's the big thing. And we knew that he didn't really have any. Laura had him tested for hearing issues. That's one of the first things you do, and no hearing problems. So it wasn't that. They also didn't feel it was like autism. It was more articulation issue.
Mhm.
And so he couldn't get his like tongue to work
Mhm.
to pronounce the words, work with his brain. So it has to kind of go from
So
your
that's what I was
brain.
going to ask you. What
Yeah.
type of speech challenge does your
Mhm.
grandson have?
Yeah. And we would call it a difficulty articulating. So there'd be a lot of certain sounds that he just didn't know what to do. It's like his tongue didn't communicate with his brain.
So
And so,
did it have to do with R sounds or any particular
yeah, it was a
sound?
lot of S sounds and
Mm,
S and T. And yeah,
okay.
my son, actually,
Mhm.
Cooper's uncle, had troubles with R's and
Mhm.
F's and T's. And so, but usually back when he was in kindergarten, within within 3 sessions, he was finished. Yep,
Mhm.
got it. Know what to do. But with Cooper, then he would get bored with it sometimes, and then once he got into preschool, then it changes from the state aid to more of a school-based, the school system.
Mhm.
And so then you take your child to, whatever elementary school or whatever they might be having. And so Laura would do that when COVID hit. That was kind of another big challenge because some schools, they wanted to mask.
Mhm.
And how do you have a
Mhm.
child trying to learn to speak? They have to see your mouth. They have to
So,
hear well because you can't,
so
sometimes you can't hear very well through those masks.
right.
Right.
So he went through the state from the state help to working
Mhm.
with a speech
With this
therapist at school.
at school. And then Laura also ended up the local hospital, and
Mm.
they have really good speech therapists. And I asked Laura, which do you think helped him the most? And she feels that it was actually the one through the hospital
Oh,
when he
really?
was younger. That's more expensive, and that's how much will your insurance pay, for it, because other than that, it's very expensive.
So that
Um,
was the most effective one. And did she share with you why she thought that one was more effective?
I think it was just the type of uh, therapist they had, the training, was more in tune with what he was mastering, whatever.
Okay. Okay.
So when he was in preschool then, and COVID was, you were supposed to start masking, um, his particular preschool didn't mask
Hmm.
for the first year. And then the second year, they decided that they would be much more rigid, follow the state. And yeah, we know the kids are going to get tired of wearing a mask. So we'll have a little corner where they can go. And, but still, that's not very good for a child trying to learn to speak.
Yeah.
And so we changed schools at that point for him.
Mm.
And he was much more accepted, it seemed like, in the new school. And it's Christian churches, is Christian preschools is what he was in.
Okay.
And the second school was like he was very, very accepted, and the teachers understood. And in fact, the kids seemed to be nicer.
Mm.
And originally, he would like kind of stand off to the side,
Mhm.
you know, focus inward. He was embarrassed to talk because he thought, you know,
People were
people
gonna-
aren't understanding him. And in fact, the kids would say, well, I'm not going to play with you because I can't understand what you say. You can't, and it was like, so, he was,
How old was he at this time?
that time he was, like, let's see, so he was in 2 years before kindergarten. Now he's in kindergarten. He was 6. So that was around age 3, 4,
Mm.
5,
Okay.
when he was in the preschool area. Yeah.
Mhm.
And so it was between, weekly visits to the hospital therapist, and then still getting some at the school level.
Okay.
So, and then we had various teachers who, did some tuition, or not tuition, tutoring, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they would do some tutoring like that. But it was something that, even his own brother was in. Why do I have to have a brother who doesn't talk?
Mm.
But, if you work with your siblings, and he became aware that was hurting Cooper and not helping.
Yeah.
And so then he would, later he would be just very engaged with, well, Cooper, let's do this, and so that worked very well. And now I would say that Cooper is, oh, he's what the teachers have, and he's at a different school with preschool or with kindergarten, and it's a Christian church school, and the teachers are so understanding
Mm.
and they will say, we know that we just don't like blurt it, like say, Cooper, answer that. And he, because then he goes, and so he needs that time to sync the brain
Mhm.
to the speech. And and the teacher said, I know, once I can see it in his eyes that he's ready to talk. And so then they do. And now he's just like, he's so accepted and he feels
Oh,
so gratified that people like him. They can tell,
that's what I was going
that
to ask
he likes
you.
them.
Can you walk us through how you think this challenge might have affected his self-confidence, and where is he with his confidence today?
Mhm. In the beginning, like when he was first doing his preschool, um, he definitely, you could see that he wasn't so sure he wanted to go, and he didn't have friends that he would come home and play. That was more he'll just play with his brother, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
Um, so I would say originally he didn't feel very liked. It was hard for him. And then as time went on and he started to be mastering the how to talk, um, he would felt acceptance. You could see his confidence was growing, and
Mhm.
especially in our family, we would like, okay, we're going to tell stories, and so of course he would like, okay, guys. That's one of his favorite things. And then he would launch into this long story, and there's still some hesitation um, in his speech, but it's much more like a hesitation because he's thinking, okay, how do I say that kind of thing?
Mhm.
But so I can see that. I mean, I don't even have any thought that his self-confidence is low at this
Oh,
point.
that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
He's writing very, very well. I mean, as far as his letters and things like that, he's really doing well.
Mhm.
So we know that there's not a problem with his intelligence or
Mhm.
how he is. And we, when he's adapted to with the other kids, of course, he's always got a girlfriend, you
Mhm.
know, going to have girlfriends, and he's a very cute boy. So, so he's got a lot of friends interested in knowing him, and yeah, he's really accepted now, and
That's good.
yeah, it's just it's nice to have seen him blossom, and we can tell when like when we haven't seen him in a while, if we go out to Arizona where we have a second home, you know, and we come back and we say, Cooper is really, I can see how much he's improved.
That's
And
great.
yeah.
So,
Mhm.
do you believe that people's challenges, even Cooper, even though he's so young still, do you
Mhm.
believe that their challenges are connected to purpose?
Hmm. And when you say purpose, tell me what you mean by that. Do you like if he
Something they can do in life to maybe
Mhm.
through their experiences make it
Mhm.
somehow easier or better for others who've
Yeah.
had similar challenges.
Mhm.
It doesn't even have to be the exact same challenge, but to have a sense that I can affect change,
Mhm. Hmm.
positive change.
Um, yeah, I don't know he's still very young, and I don't know if he thinks much about changing the world or anything like that.
Mhm.
I definitely have my book having changing the world. Um, but I don't, yeah,
Well,
I
my
think it
question was
depends on
more
age.
more in general, not
Mhm,
specifically about him.
mhm,
Is
mhm,
do you think challenges produces a feeling of purpose in
mhm,
people?
mhm. Yeah, I would say that, especially like, I think about the way athletes have to be.
Mhm.
And if you want to make an improvement in your baseball game or in your golf game or whatever, um, you find that working hard for it gives you results, I guess, is what.
Mhm. Mhm. Okay. Um, Actually, while I was listening to your response, I actually thought of a situation where a young man, this was more like middle school age, um, he had a hearing challenge and a speech challenge, but it was another young man at the school who had a speech challenge. But I noticed that he actually did kind of help the other student.
Mhm.
Even though he had
Yeah.
two
Mhm.
challenges, he kind of helped the other student to fit in better.
Mhm.
He was better adjusted. I guess that's
Yeah.
That's what I noticed was the difference between the two.
Mm.
And
Hmm.
so the other student was a little more, I don't know, he presented himself in a more awkward manner, like maybe he hadn't fully come
Hmm.
into himself to the extent that the other student did. So the other student was kind of making him feel more comfortable, showing him the ropes, kind of thing. When
Hmm.
it's time for them to
Yeah.
go to speech therapy, he would remind them
Hmm.
and make sure they did their work, that kind
That
of
makes, yeah, that makes me think of something my daughter just told me is that
thing.
um, the other kids, see, he's got like I think 15 in his class. The other kids see him going out of class to go to speech therapy, and they are jealous. I wish we could go do that. I would love to be able to go and
Love to get
go
out.
out and do this. And so, he's actually, instead of being, I mean, I remember going in school, if you had to go out for special ed or something, we were embarrassed. But, here it's like, wow, you lucky dog, you get to go out, go have fun.
That's great. That's so great. Because I
And
remember that too. People would be like,
yeah,
"Oh, they got to go to the other class."
yeah,
But that's great that
yes.
he's experienced it in such a positive way.
Yeah. And it also, shows that he doesn't have to feel bad that he's
Mm,
feeling good. Oh, they wish they could do it like me.
that's
In
wonderful.
other words, there's nothing wrong with having a speech disability or a problem or whatever. So yeah, no, I feel that he's he really will keep improving and keep going. Um, his brother is very, very helpful with him. Of course, they fight like dogs sometimes, but that's boys. His brother is 9, soon to be 10, and he's 6 and will be 7. So in another couple months. So
Would you say you've noticed anything like, I don't know, because speech has been a challenge? I know you mentioned that you can tell his intellect because through his writing, but
mhm,
does he excel in his writing? Almost like,
mhm.
I don't know, it makes up the difference, or this is how he's honed his
Yeah.
expression.
Mhm. He's very much loves to draw, loves to organize things, and loves to build things. And he'll be constantly, you know, wanting and have to say he's got some kind of a perfection thing. Oh, I'm gonna start all over again because this wasn't good enough. He's it drives my daughter crazy sometimes, but he's always been loves to clean and organize.
Mm,
And if other kids aren't doing their job, he's kind of upset with them. Come on, it's
he's a
cleanup
leader.
time. We got to clean up. So it's interesting to see the I mean, yeah, he's like a leader. He knows what should be done, and
Mhm.
he's not going to push the teacher around or anything. And most of the kids are very, very kind in class, and
That's nice.
so that's being part of a Christian school. But
Mhm.
I know that Cooper, one of the first things we did, because we said, well, let's say 3 things about each of us that we enjoy or we think is great. And one of the things that Cooper said is that he loves God.
Mm.
And I think that really is a big, big thing in his life. If you can give children that love from you as parents, but then they also get it from God,
Yeah,
and knowing that God is there to help them, to
that's
back them up, it's really neat that that's how it works out.
that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. It is a beautiful thing.
So
Yeah.
tell us a little more about your book specifically.
Mhm.
Um, how do you think your book is going to, or already is helping people with similar challenges?
Yeah. I used to have, and I still do, okay, if I am out there, but they like grandparents or other parents would come up. A lot of grandparents would come up and say, this is exactly what my grandson is going through. And
Mm,
they would feel so I don't know, rewarded or redeemed, or that they had met someone who's also going through that. And so it helps people by knowing that, hey, they aren't the only one
mhm.
to be feeling and dealing with this. Um, people, and I think that probably with the whole COVID thing, kids got behind on many things.
Mhm.
And I don't know, it's because Cooper doesn't seem behind on anything.
No, I was
And
going
maybe
to
it's
ask you
because
about that. Did you
yeah,
feel that that kind of delayed his progress with speech?
I
With
think if we had not switched schools, and gone to a school that wasn't going to force him to mask,
Mhm.
um, I think that he would have been behind more, but
Okay.
he does not seem behind at all in
Another thing that I hear
school.
that's beautiful too, that I'm sure has
Mhm,
contributed to him not being behind, is he has
mhm.
a lot of home support. He has
Yes,
the
he does.
support from his mother. He has the
Mhm,
support from you. So he has generational support. You
mhm.
guys have
From
even
his brother.
coached, that's what I was about to say. You coached his
Mhm,
brother to be
mhm.
sensitive and understanding and helpful. And
Yeah.
then you've mentioned three different sources: the school resources, the
Mhm,
hospital resources, the governmental resources, all
mhm.
working together. So
Yeah.
it's really complimentary to his family for
Mhm,
um, really getting out there and
mhm,
and and finding that support and advocating and making
mhm.
sure that he has all that help to be successful.
Yeah, I know that my daughter has said that the principal at this school
Mhm.
um, is very, very, he'll come and meet them at the door. He's an incredibly supportive uh,
Mhm.
gentleman, and this is their first year open, this school.
Mm.
So Cooper was going to be going to regular public school.
Mhm.
Um, and with all of the changes during COVID, it sure seemed like the public school where they were going had kind of gotten, overwhelmed.
Mhm.
Many, many students, too few teachers, too
Mhm.
few helpers.
Yeah,
Um,
that was
and then,
experience all over the country.
mhm, yeah,
A
right.
lot of people
And
left the profession.
yes, I
They
know.
found some other things to do during in that COVID era.
hmm Yeah. So this school is actually having to go out and, recruit more for next year
Mhm.
because they're going to grow because they have
Mhm.
gotten so much great feedback
Wonderful.
from parents. And in fact, Grayson says that this school has saved his life. Now
Oh.
that's Grayson, who's, just, he would get like, I don't know, confused with what the directions were, but the school is much more accepting and just nice kids.
Now, Grayson is Cooper's brother, right?
Older brother. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. So even he found the school more helpful.
Oh, yeah, he did. Yeah.
Okay. So let's get
Very,
back
very
to your
supportive.
book. What would you say is the theme of your book?
So being that's the K boy, who would be president, um, my thought when I wrote it was to document the journey, for one thing,
Mhm.
and to show that even though you have something that you've got to overcome when you're little and
Mhm.
you're young and you're trying to learn,
Mhm.
as you grow, you will overcome like obstacles, challenges. And then in the book, he becomes the politician
Mhm.
and the politician who would listen because as you know and in the book one of the scenes are well Cooper would not talk until he knew what he wanted to say
Mhm. Oh,
and it's kind of like that is too he's like that and don't we all need a politician who really listens it's kind of and that's how my purpose in writing the book was to show other parents and grandparents that you can overcome these things and it's going to be a great thing in the end
mhm.
it can be. Mhm.
Listening to you just now made me think about what I asked you earlier regard to purpose. Although my original question was just in general, do you think
Mhm.
challenges help give shape to people's purpose? I
Mhm.
do see a little bit of a connection with Cooper. He may be too young to know what he wants to do in life, but
Mhm.
I do think he's probably discovering his superpowers, if you will,
Yeah, yeah.
listening to
Mhm.
the range of things that you've told me about him.
Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
so even just if it wasn't for that challenge, maybe he didn't have to give so much thought to
To
what
what
he
he
was
was
going to say,
gonna
how he
say,
was going
right?
to say it.
Hmm.
So it's developing some of those leadership skills.
Yeah. And you develop your thinking abilities
Absolutely.
and just I don't know yet. He hasn't started reading much yet, but I I anticipate that that will also be a leap forward
Hmm.
in his speech.
And what a beautiful gift you've given him by being sensitive to his story and
Mhm.
literally writing a narrative.
Yeah.
That's a powerful gift from a grandmother. Like, I'm sure he's going to cherish that all of
Yeah.
his life.
Well, you at first you think, oh, are they going to be embarrassed?
Mhm.
But he's been in the newspaper because because of the book.
Yeah.
And in fact, his teachers usually say, "Hey, can we have that?" I'm happy to donate all of that to. And my purpose is not to make a lot of money on the book, obviously. What I want to do is use the money, any money that we get, I donate it to help kids in speech. There might be different centers that need money to help kids, and that's what it goes to. Yeah.
Hmm.
Mhm.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
in our conversation, there's a question that I ask all of my guests. If people forget everything we've talked about today, what would be the one gem, the one thing that you would say to them?
Mhm.
Please don't forget this, though. This is just so important to hold on to.
Mhm. Yeah. My thought is I think so much is linked to acceptance and love and unconditional love
Mm,
and helping kids discover themselves.
yes,
But you know, it's just acceptance and love can really overcome so much.
that's great. That's beautiful. Um, is there anything else you'd like us to know
Mhm.
about your book and even how people can get in touch with you, get your book?
Mhm.
Uh,
Yeah, it's you can go to the caveboybook.com and you can order it through what's that square square thing. You can order
Amazon.
it. Yeah. So you can order it. And then uh, let's see, you can also, if you happen to go to LaBov and Beyond, which is our company, you can find it there. There'd be a link to find it too. So labov.com is also
I
one of the
like
ways
your
to get to
phrase,
it. Yeah.
LaBov and Beyond.
Yeah. It's the name of our company.
That's cool.
So yeah, but that's how you can order it that way. And I would like to, see about getting it into, Scholastic or something like that, but I haven't yet. When the book came out, it was too close to COVID, and then it was like uh, the therapist said, "Well, we can't have it in our waiting room because there's no waiting room going on right now,
Do you
and
do
nobody's supposed to
readings?
touch anything."
Do you do readings at bookstores or public libraries or anything?
I haven't done anything yet, but I'm very open to it. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
I know a lot of libraries have story time, so
Mhm.
that's
Okay.
something to consider. And
Yeah. Mhm.
I'm just going to say to the audience, if you live near Carol and you hear of her doing her story times or readings or
Yeah.
so forth, go out and support because she's doing this in tribute to her grandson, and also the proceeds are going to help other young people who have similar challenges. Um,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
also, even if she's not doing a reading, you don't hear about it, get her book.
Hey, reach
And
out and I'd be happy to journey to a place that would love to have the
wonderful,
author come and read their book.
wonderful,
Hmm.
wonderful.
Yeah.
So, Carol,
Mhm.
thanks so much for agreeing to be
Mhm.
on my show. This has been delightful conversation and informative conversation. Thanks for sharing with us about Cooper's journey and the ways that your family used to help him. Hopefully, that will give other families ideas of where they can reach out and get additional
Yeah.
support, but also how to rally around their person who may have a similar challenge
Yeah.
and help as a family
Yeah.
and coach the young people up about how to be supportive. I mean, you shared a lot of information that I hope people will take as a positive, something that they can
Yeah.
use in their own lives.
And there's many challenges out there for kids, could be more physical than
Mhm.
speech. It could be, but if they have the right love and respect, they can overcome it.
I
Then they
love
don't
that.
feel judged by their
Mm.
peers or whatever, either. Mhm.
If they have the right love, the unconditional love and support, anybody can overcome anything.
That's right. Mhm.
Um, so thanks for sharing that. And
Yeah.
thanks for being my guest.
All right. I appreciated you having me on, and then we could make Cooper's cause more available to people.
Absolutely.